right, cool. So as usual, I'll start with some shout outs to the community and the nice contributions that came from there and interesting discussions. So AgentRev has been working on telemetry connection for Monty. This is one of the larger items on our engineering roadmap to add proper telemetry collection to Monty. And there's been a lot of back and forth between AgentRev and Tristan, Tristan giving feedback and AgentRev incorporating it and updating his approach. And yeah, thanks for all the time you're spending on that. Really looking forward to see this added to Monty. Another item on our roadmap is adding weights and biases logging for unsupervised learning. So right now we kind of have to manually analyze the results of those benchmark experiments, whereas most benchmarks are logged to weights and biases, so we can easily update them in our documentation. And so how you, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but has written on our forum about contributing to this item, collecting some feedback on what we're imagining for the item, and just opened a PR for it last week. That's under review at the moment, so thanks for contributing there. That'll be very nice to have. Then Alexei has been working with Niels and me on an RFC for prototyping reinforcement learning in Monty for some time now, and just posted an update last week. He started working on a prototype for it to test the ideas he was proposing and see how well they work, and posted an update with some hard numbers and results, which is, yeah, cool to see. And yeah, we'll go over those in detail in the next weeks. And then Pablo has made a PR to Monty directly to fix the step hook from the config to avoid an error when saving with the live plotter. Also giving feedback on our RFCs, which is requests for comments, is a valuable way to contribute. So Tristan had posted an RFC on sensor modules as transformable pipelines on the discourse forum, and AgentRev took the time to read through that and give some feedback on it. Thank you for that. And then ZBoy has shared a really interesting looking project on discourse, if anyone is interested to read through the details, but pretty interesting hardware setup of different cameras and sensors connected to kind of Monty like sensor motor AI. And yeah, also sharing some of the thinking behind it that he's putting in, like the biological principles he's trying to follow, and yeah, interacting with people on feedback, sharing some more details on the setup. So it's always interesting to see what people do with the ideas in Monty. Looking forward to more updates there. And then Safin has shared a useful Jupyter, no, not Jupyter, what's it called? A notebook for running Omniglot experiments with Monty, which, yeah, people can use if they're newcomers to get some visualizations and run Monty on a known data set. Yeah, and then just generally, thanks to people who interact on posts from other people. So for example, Alex has been replying to several posts with his thoughts and relating it to a project he's working on, as well as Roger. There's been various interesting questions on the forum, like from Lucretius about how the compositional models will work in Monty. There was an interesting thread around object identity emerging from sensory motor representations. Another interesting thread around Monty for ArcAGI3 and what would still need to be added for that. And then the thread I think I highlighted last month already, that started around one of our research meetings videos about temporary models in the hippocampus, where there was some more interesting follow-up and further questions from Falco as well that were really good. Interesting discussion, just kind of a nice high-level post of thoughts from Bryce on one of our research meeting videos, and some good questions on our YouTube video about how we represent object ID in the compositional setting. Also, sharing related work is always useful for us. So, for instance, someone on X shared a paper on deep networks and whether they can learn symmetries, which relates to one of the capabilities we demonstrate in our recent publication on Monty's abilities, since Monty can extract symmetry natively, and that works quite well. So it's interesting to see where neural networks fail or succeed. Rich sharing, I think it was a science publication with some neuroscience insights. And here was I think it was someone's thesis around what computational task can a neuron solve? How complex is a neuron? And Sebastian tagging Thousand Brains project, since this is something that could be interesting to us. So always useful to be made aware of these new developments and publications. And then also sharing our project. Some more people who've been tagging our project or sharing our project. So yeah, thanks to everyone here. Dai Mokomi, Sergey, Tim Logan, Ryan Richt, for sharing our work. And then kind words. We published our paper on Monty's capabilities last month in the journal Neural Computation. And when it was published, there were lots of kind words on that, as well as on some unrelated YouTube videos. And just generally, always nice to hear some kind words. And so thanks a lot to everyone who's been contributing and discussing with us and sharing our work.